with having a plan, you have to have a goal, because if you don't have a goal, then you're going in different directions.
On today's episode of the All Business Baby podcast, I am speaking to Victor Idoko from CFV Services.
We educate people in three aspects. There's the wealth, there's the health, there's the relationships. And I feel for people to have a rewarding and fulfilling life, they need to address three of those aspects and ensure that they fully understand what they want, because it all depends on what an individual wants in that aspect.
So, Victor, thank you for joining me on our podcast today.
No worries. Glad to be here, Phil. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
Can you tell the audience a little bit about you?
So I am Victor Idoko, financial planner and founder of CFV Services, and we help individuals and small businesses plan for the future. What we're trying to achieve is actually help these individuals and small businesses have a rewarding and fulfilling lives. And we know we can do that through good financial planning. So cash flow investment, super retirement, and a lot.
You said something rewarding and fulfilling life. You probably have quite a lot of clients. Is it the same for everyone? For them to achieve a rewarding, fulfilling life, is it the same thing?
For most people, it's very, very different. In terms of the strategies we put in place, similar, but for everyone is different. I might be speaking to a twin, and both of them have a family and same amount of kids and everything, but yeah, totally different. They all see things differently. They all have different perspective. Their own individual rewarding and fulfilling life is very, very tailored.
All right. Before we get into the nitty gritty stuff, I wanted you to talk a little bit about your personal life and your journey before getting into business. What was it like? I know you weren't born and bred in Australia, but you were from Nigeria. Tell us a little bit about your life there.
Thinking back about my life then, I think it was a very interesting, stress-free life, like a normal kid, I guess. I grew up in a family of mom a teacher, dad a soldier, and we grew up in the army barracks. The army barracks where lots of families around, lots of kids were running around. So it was a very fun and safe environment to grow up in. And
there weren't guns lying around or anything like that?
There were actually guns lying around, so...
Safety lock on though.
Yes, safety lock on. And we always got a firm warning about not to play with them, because there were definitely lots of guns around. But in that environment, it was so safe, because obviously you're in the military barracks. But thinking back then, it wasn't an ideal environment for, just the way it looked. Like our house back then was 3-bedroom house. One of the rooms was totally unusable. And being African and having lots of aunties and uncles and nephews and cousins, you'd actually have lots of people over. It was a full house, to say. But, the roads were not tarred. Lots of, I'd say, poverty, but it was a fun environment. Ignorance is bliss. So
I guess when you were young, you don't know any better. So that's, to you, was that was home. Right.
Correct. Because there wasn't too much exposure then. We just thought everyone in the world lived that way. So
when did you realize that not everyone lived that way?
Because my dad was a soldier, he kind of slowly climbed up. And obviously with that came a little bit of exposure that, there's something better.
Right.
And mom ran a small business as well. So that helped, because we then moved away from the barracks, because what happens back then is if you're very poor, you stay in the barracks. Right. And then once you have enough to actually get your own house, you move out. So we're able to move out, I think when I was about 10 years old. So, but the first 8 years was fully in the barracks. Yeah.
Right. So then you started to live like a king after that, is it?
Yeah. So I thought again, because, that was just the one step up, but no, I definitely wasn't living like a king yet.
Yeah.
But it was a huge improvement. We moved into a place where it was a bigger house, lots of land to play with. One thing which my dad did, which was amazing back then, was help us set up a basketball court in the house as well. So just the ring. Do not think fancy courts, please. This is still very, very poor cost. But that really kept me busy, because I ended up playing lots of basketball and just staying out of trouble.
Or the next part of your life as you hit teenage years. Did you go to school in Nigeria? What was happening there? Or did you work? What was...
Well, I say African environment, kids don't really work that young. It's more about school. So when I turned 11, I went to boarding school. And look, that's the norm as well. Some people hear that and be like, "Oh, you're too young," but no, that's what happened back there with kids. So boarding school was interesting as well, because, you have about 40 other pairs and the same age, and, you people just trying to live life to the best. But one thing I look back and I loved about boarding school was, the structure that actually came with that. I think that really shaped me for having lots of structure in my life. To give you an example of a typical day, we'll wake up at about 5:15. We'll go do some morning work. Morning work is watching the plants, sweeping the floors, cleaning the classrooms, and then you need to rush back to your dorms, get changed. Then when you change, you rush back to class, literally running throughout. So, which was, as I said, the norm to us back then, but looking at it now or the remembering now, it's interesting. So we'll run back to class, have morning classes for about 2 hours, run to breakfast. After breakfast, run straight away to chapel, because it was a Christian school. Pretty much after chapel, then more classroom work, and then lunch, then you had siesta, and then you had the games room, and then
siesta. How's good? How good's that?
Siesta was just like I think for 45 minutes, 1 hour.
Yeah.
So you barely even had time to
imagine
sleep.
you take 40 minutes to get to sleep, and then 5 minutes later you gotta wake up.
Pretty much. Back then as well, if you were in trouble, you did not get siesta. It was an opportunity for the seniors to punish you or get you to do stuff for them, which was interesting. So, but after that, we'd had sports. And then dinner.
Yeah, so very structured. It seemed like, I think, the way you grew up, there was a lot of, as you said, structure, but a lot of, it probably instilled a lot of discipline in you as well, to be able to get up on time, to do all these things, cleaning, watering, and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, I wasn't doing that when I was growing up. My mum was doing everything for me.
Lucky you, Phil. Lucky you.
Maybe that's why I'm a spoiled brat, right? Now my wife does a lot of things for me. So thanks for sharing your life back in Nigeria. I guess, can you tell us now about your journey to Australia? How did you actually hear about Australia if you were confined in the Nigerian wars, and how did you get here?
Generally, if you can afford to send your kid overseas to study, you will, because it's a better educational system. So I had a cousin in Perth, and the opportunity was to go to the UK or here. And me being me, I was like, no, I'll go to Australia. Too many people go to the UK already, and that's how I ended up here. So.
Yeah, wow. And then from there, you got flown over here, and then you lived in Perth. That was life in Perth, because for us Australians, we kind of don't think about Perth as part of the country. It's like a 5-6 hour flight. You're better off going to Bali, right?
Yeah, 100%. And, I think the Western Australians share the same notion that they don't think you're part of Australia, They rather actually go to Bali than come to Sydney. So, but I think Perth is a very picturesque place. I think it's very beautiful, nice beaches, a good place to probably raise a family if you don't like the hustle bustle. I did my uni there and everything, so yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I have a soft spot.
Okay, well, look, you're a financial planner, so obviously to become a financial planner, I know that it requires a lot of study. Going through your degrees, and then some will get into their CFA, which I believe you've done. Yes. CFA, for those that don't know, is?
As Chartered Financial Analyst.
From what I hear, that's a very rigorous and very tough course or degree to get through. Is that right? Yes,
100%. I think one of the toughest studies I've done in my life. But yeah, definitely happy I did it.
Why did you decide, I'm going to become a financial planner? Out of all the professions out there, you decided financial planning was your thing?
Typical African family. My parents wanted me to be a doctor or an engineer. I was like, no, I just want to do the shortest studies ever and, start working. And finance was that one. So started finance, and pretty much I just loved investing. To me, a concept of you put your money somewhere, it can grow for years. Like, wow, that's gold. And then after uni, I wanted to do something related to investing, and I wasn't sure. And so I was working in the branch then, and then they told me to speak to the financial planner. I was like, no, I'm not speaking to one. But I ended up speaking to him, and then he explained what to do and said, yes, it relates a lot to investing. And I tried it out, and then I loved it. So I just loved the client interaction. I think bringing the discipline that I've had from childhood to, okay, do this, do that, do this, and do that, you will get to your goal, has been really helpful. So I fell into it, in other words, but I've loved it since then.
And obviously, being a financial planner, you weren't running your own business straight away. You were working for someone else. As you were working for someone else, what kind of, in your mind, made you go, you know what, I need to, or want to start a business? What was that tipping point?
I guess the tipping point was when there was lots of change happening in the industry, and we just didn't know what was happening. So the bank was trying to exit financial planning then. And I was thinking, I don't want to go to another place where I don't have some element of control over my future, because I liked financial planning.
Okay.
Typically in the big firms, you can't be a manager and a financial planner. And I really wanted to almost have my cake and eat it. So I was like, running your business is perfect. I can actually manage the firm and I can be a financial planner as well. So I'll say a few life pressures led me to that. I'm really happy I did it. Wasn't too easy, but definitely happy I actually did that. And just relating that to where I grew up, and my mom, seeing her run a small business because she ran a poultry farm, and doing that in a 1x1 square meter room, and then seeing that grow, that actually gave me lots of confidence that, look, it takes time, but it can be done. And I had people around who were very supportive. They're like, yep, Victor, do it,
Yeah, that's right. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Now, you touched on something where you mentioned that the financial planning industry had a lot of changes. You're referring to the Royal Commission and, all the bad stuff that had come out of that, right? And how financial planners are bad for you. They're just there to take your money.
Yeah.
There's a stigma around financial planners, from that. What would you say to those people who think that, financial planners are bad for you, that they wouldn't, go anywhere near a financial planner? What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I would say that the industry has changed a lot since then. The changes were definitely not easy for us financial planners, because, if you take the average of any profession, there would be some bad eggs usually. However, I think it was great because it really filtered and got rid of
all the cowboys.
So because now you need to go through a certain level of training, certain level of ethics to actually be a financial planner. What I would say to them is the value you get from advice is a lot, very, very immeasurable. So you need a good financial planner to actually get to where you want to go to. And one of the best ways to actually do that is by asking your other professionals who you've worked with other financial planners. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that the industry is a lot cleaner now than it used to be, thanks to the Royal Commission. Sometimes good things come out of hard times or bad.
Yeah, I guess the positive of it all is that it has shown a lot on how bad the industry was, and that now they've put a lot of things in place to clean up the industry. So hopefully people can see that now. The industry is a lot better than what it was before.
And just to add on that, I think with financial planning is a relatively new industry. So we needed to go through that to become a profession.
Going back to your business journey, for anyone looking to start their own business, what are some tips or a tip that you would give to them when starting out?
So from my experience, my thing was I just needed to be able to take care of myself for 6 months without relying on the business. So I'll say biggest tip is just ensure you can take care of yourself, so you're not worried too much about, how to put food on your table. That was the biggest thing for me. And as soon as I could do that, I was like, yep, okay, let's do this.
And if you were to, clearly you've gone past the 6 months, so you're doing something well, but, did you have a plan in your head to say, okay, if I fail or I don't get to what I need to get to in 6 months' time, did you have a plan B?
Yes, I had a plan B, but it wasn't really, it was more like, I'll see how I'll go. And I really just would give this my all. So literally I was working long hours to ensure it works. But plan B was, I'll go find another job, or, worst case, I'll go sit down in my father's house for 6 months, think about my life and go from there.
Join the army.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what I take from that is you planned out the next 6 months that you had to make it, and really that was the only option. But if you didn't, you would have then went back to your full-time job, or find a full-time job.
Yeah. Or
it's not really a bad plan B.
No, it's not. So I think being in the Western world, you can really find something. Like there's so many things you can do if you don't actually go down the path you wanted to go. So I wasn't too worried about that. It was more, let's get this, let's make this happen.
Yeah. How long have you been in business now, Victor?
3 years and 1 month, but who's counting?
Yeah, congratulations. Happy birthday. No, that's awesome. So 3 years in now, do you see a difference from your first year to your third year in running a business? And if so, what are the differences?
Basically, when you're running a business, everything is on you, and even you as the professional in that business, because every business you're offering a service or you're offering a good. So with you being a professional in that service, you really need to look at ways to get better so you can actually survive and grow. So I'd say me 3 years ago compared to now, I've had the biggest growth even though I've probably been giving advice for just under 10 years now, that 3 years has been the biggest growth in terms of the advice I give clients, in terms of my thinking as a business owner, and the mission and the vision that I want and aspire the business to get to. So, and obviously I've learned from people like you, Mr. Khao. So, and I think that's a key thing as well. With running a business, you definitely need lots of people to help and lots of people to guide you with the right things. And I think just being exposed to, obviously you have been running a business for a while, has been really, really helpful and helped me make smarter decisions.
Yeah. No, I think you make a really good point that asking for help or leaning on others that have that experience just helps you get to where you need to go a lot quicker than doing it yourself, right? I'm sure in your first year of business you kind of didn't know where you were going, bit lost, but as you start to network, as you start to ask for help, it kind of then puts more structure and leads you onto the right path in terms of growing your business. So it's great to see that now in the third year, your business is a lot, I guess, better or bigger than it was in the first year, because now you've got staff under you that can help you manage X, Y, and Z, and allows you to do other things.
Correct.
So in your third year of business now, do you find business is harder now in the third year compared to your first year, or do you feel like it's getting a bit easier?
It's getting easier with lots of things. Like, for example, I'm not worried about six months and making sure I can put food on my table again.
Yeah.
But, I think the new challenge is, okay, how do I motivate staff? How do I keep them really engaged? How do I ensure they see the vision that I see so we can actually work towards that? So different challenges at different times, but you get better at managing the challenges. That's what I find. You get better. I can definitely sleep a lot better at night now than I could 3 years ago. So you just get better, but different challenges. And I don't think that will change, no matter the size of the business.
Yeah, that's right. I do feel like in the first year of business, it is pretty much a fight for survival. And you've survived now. It's a new fight. And it's now, as you say, having staff it's almost like having kids. It's another mouth to feed, right? So there's a new added stress to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to make sure that they're fed. And when I say fed, I mean they've got a lot of work on. They're doing X, Y, and Z, right? So I definitely agree. There's new challenges.
And just to add on that as well, there's a difference between being a good leader and a good manager, and those are skills I'm learning to balance and get better at. Because I think I do a few better than the other, but different skills by the time you have staff involved.
What's the difference between a good leader and a good manager?
Yeah, so I'll say the leader definitely has the vision. The manager would be someone who actually helps to bring people together and help them see the vision. So the manager really has to deal with the people, the management of people, like how do you feed them, how do you ensure they're happy, how do you ensure they're working towards this vision. If they don't understand the vision, that communication from the leader to ensure the managers and the people have the vision, but the managers really do the ground operational work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. What is the vision for CFV Services?
Good question.
Because you're the leader, I'm assuming, not the manager.
I'm trying to be a good leader and a good manager. Yeah. So our vision has been simple. I think when I then found out what we want to do and we want to help people live a rewarding and fulfilling life, the vision for me then has been very simple. First of all, the clients live a rewarding and fulfilling life. How do I help the team members, and the people we work with live a rewarding and fulfilling life? And that in turn will help me live a rewarding and fulfilling life. So to sum it up, everyone I work with or everyone we deal with, we want them to get to that rewarding and fulfilling life. That's the vision.
Yeah, that's a good one. How do you measure that, right?
Yeah. Good question. The measurement of that comes from the individual, going back to what I said about financial planning, someone's rewarding and fulfilling life is totally different to the others, So my team now of about 4 people, all of them have different rewarding and fulfilling lives. And it takes time to really understand what they want. Some of them want to really travel a lot and have peace of mind. Some of them really want to grow in their careers. All that is whatever they feel as a fulfilling life for them. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, for the staff that are wanting to travel, you should be telling them, no, you can't, because you're going to help me grow my business. No, I think that's the wrong approach. I think all you need is a laptop.
Yeah.
Right, you can work anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Especially COVID shone the light on that. That if you're a service provider, you don't have to be situated and stuck in one location to actually get work done. You can be in Bali, or you can be in Europe, you can be in America, and you can be doing all those things, which is kind of what you do as well, because you've traveled quite a bit and you're always stuck to your laptop.
100%.
Saturdays, Sundays.
I don't go anywhere without my laptop. Yeah. Feel a little bit naked that it's not here now. So
So before I get into another question that's on my mind, you're in your third year of business. It's clearly growing. What are some tips that you can share to anyone out there already on their business journey, looking to grow their business? What can you share to them?
I'll definitely say you have to have a plan. It's not something you just wing. If you have a plan, one that brings structure and that brings a clear approach to getting to your goal. And with having a plan, you have to have a goal, because if you don't have a goal, then you're going in different directions, So I think going back to our vision, it has been very clear to me when I'm speaking to team members that, okay, yes, you won't leave, take it, because that's part of what we are. That's part of what we want to be. So, so you want to go enjoy a certain amount of time, go do it. But all that is because I know what the vision is and I have a plan around that as to how to get there. So people need to have a plan. You just need to have a plan. Everything won't fall in line as to the plan, but that's life. You just pivot, or then you get help when things don't fall to plan.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think having a goal is very important. For you to get to the goal, you need to have a plan so that you can actually get there and progress to that goal. And, if you don't hit it, you can always set new goals and keep going at it. But ultimately, that's a very good tip, setting goals and planning. As basic as that sounds, it's so important. Because otherwise, you're just caught in the everyday of just the operations, just doing the work.
Correct.
And if you continually do the work, by year 3, you're still doing the work, or you're creating more of a job for yourself, and ultimately you're not going to be a business owner, which is why you got into business, right?
Yeah. And one thing I'll just add on that as well is, if you can get a business coach, definitely do it. And for example, I have one, and I was very specific about mine. I wanted one that had run a financial planning business, has grown a financial planning business, and is now helping financial planners, because that's the way I can get to know what I don't know. You might not be able to do it in your first 2 years, but I think by the time you get into the third year, you need to invest in yourself. And that's where that business coach, further studies and all that comes in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it took me maybe 4 or 5 years to full time to grow my business to where it is. But, if I sought your advice 5 years ago, Victor, I may have gotten there 2 or 3 years ago, right? So it really is just sometimes removing the ego from running a business and going, hey, this person's done it before, let me seek their advice. And you have to pay 2, 3, 4 grand a month or whatever it is, but don't see that as a cost to the business, but rather investment in yourself and the business. And ultimately that's going to get you where you need to be a lot quicker, which I'm assuming it has for you as well.
Yeah, so 100%. You invest in yourself as the best investment you can. And this is coming from a financial planner.
Yeah, okay, invest in yourself. How do I put money? Now, you mentioned that the vision for CFV Services is to help others and those that you touch live a rewarding and fulfilling life. If you're able to do that, Victor, what about yourself? How do you live a rewarding and fulfilling life?
Part of the company as well, we focus on 3 aspects, or rather we educate people on 3 aspects. There's the wealth, there's the health, there's the relationships. And I feel for people to have a rewarding and fulfilling life, they need to address 3 of those aspects and ensure that they fully understand what they want, because it all depends on what an individual wants in that aspect as well. So, for me to have my own real rewarding and fulfilling life, I need to take care of my wealth, take care of my health, and take care of my relationships. And these relationships with anyone that I work with family, with loved ones.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one before. That's a good one, actually. I'm just thinking about my wealth, health, and relationships. I think I kind of have them covered, but I guess if you have all those 3 things, Victor, covered, what's next? Is that it? That's life complete? You've ticked it? You've done it?
Yeah, so having them covered is a growth process, or rather it's a progressive process, if I can say that. You get better at one and more relationships actually come into the situation, for people that want kids, you start off with having a spouse, then you get kids. So you need to build on the relationships with the kids. So it's a never ending process. Your health as well, in your 20s and 30s, you can probably run as fast as possible, but your 50s and 60s is a different relationship with your health, So all those are never ending. So you have nothing to work on in those regards,
Yes.
And same thing with wealth as well. There's a balance with wealth, right? Like if you work too much when you're in your 20s and 30s, you might not get to explore other aspects of your relationships and health. So you need to balance all that as well. So there isn't a holy grail for all of them, but
it's a balance.
But it's a balance, and each person needs to choose their balance, but all three need to be taken care of.
Yeah, it's crazy because, a lot of people have the right intentions of, for example, getting into business to then try and achieve financial stability, freedom. But what they then forego is, spending time with their kids, for example. I'm currently going through that a little bit. I've there's like a beast in me that just wants to keep killing and hunting and growing this business and just taking it to the next level, right? But then the other side of me is like, I've got this little bloody gremlin running around and I love her to bits and I want to spend time with her as well.
Yeah.
And if I keep focusing on the business and keep wanting to achieve those goals, by the time I am satisfied, which I don't think I'll ever will be, my little one's going to be like 10, 12, 15 years old in her teens, not wanting to hang out with me, and it's like, crap, what did I do all this for? So now I'm finding a balance of, the business can wait. Yeah, I've gone to a good point. Let's just be happy with that now, and let's just spend time with, Isabel and just watch her grow and enjoy the next, 10, 11 years before she becomes a teenager and just rebels and hates me. Because that's going to happen. I know it, right? So no,
hopefully
right.
not.
Yeah, hopefully not. But, I'm just thinking worst case scenario that she will. I'm like, better just enjoy these, next 10 years, right?
Yeah. So I think one mistake people make is totally ignoring one of those three aspects. I think you need to give each one a bit of love. Sometimes one would definitely take more love than the other ones. And, for me, for the last 3 years, it's been, wealth. Now I'm trying to focus on health and relationships, but still not ignore any of them. That balance.
Yeah. No, that's good. So the tip is balance.
Yes.
Balance. All right. Awesome, Victor. Thanks for jumping on this podcast and sharing your experience. I'm hoping people in the audience have related to your story and hopefully they can start their own journey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having me, Phil.
So if you're about to begin your business journey or you're currently going through your business journey, tune into future episodes so that you can learn more and find a supportive community. Otherwise, follow me on LinkedIn for more.